Welcome to IoT Marketing Live. I'm Tiffany Nielsen, and with me is my co-host, the CEO and founder of IoT Marketing, Johannes Beekman. How are you doing today, Johannes?
I'm doing great, Tiffany. How are you?
Fantastic. And recently, Johannes and I attended Mobile World Congress in Las Vegas, where I led the What's Hot in the Connected World panel discussion, which was incredible. And it was great to see so many familiar faces, and especially those of past speakers for our webinars and participants for our upcoming Summit of Things event on October 27th. And we saw them in person, which makes things that much better. And some of those people include, well, you, Johannes, as well as Steve Brummer, Rob Tiffany, Barbara Periglio, Thad Langon, James Brem, and David Knight. And David Knight will be speaking at our upcoming Summit of Things event. And he also took the stage at MWC for the session, The Marriage of the Physical and Digital Worlds. And Cole Edmondson of Oracle was also speaking at MWC for the Limitless Data panel discussion, and he will also be participating in our upcoming summit. I was pleased to see Las Vegas had such a presence at the show as they hosted the Viva Tech Vegas session with Mayor Carolyn Goodman, as well as the CIO for the city of Las Vegas, Michael Sherwood, who also appeared in our Living on the Edge webinar. And the new West Hall of the Las Vegas Convention Center is amazing. It's very state of the art and also features a beautiful terrace with scenic views of Las Vegas. And the GSMA and CTIA did a fantastic job of organizing the event. And I also loved the booth for the GSMA, where it had a strength contest. And with a swing of a mallet, Johannes showed us just how strong he was, which was 3 times stronger than I was. But I did have a dress on, if that makes any difference. What did you think of the event, Johannes?
Well, come back to your comment. What can I say, Tiffany? A high striker is always fun, and I practice a lot at many county fairs. But to your second point, I enjoyed Mobile World Las Vegas. There were a lot of exhibitors. The expo hall was humming, I would say, and it's always great to meet old friends. The talks at Mobile World were great and very topical, and the layout of the West Hall, as you mentioned, where the show was held, made it very easy to move from the show floor to the conference room. So all in all, I think it was a great show.
Thanks, Johannes. And our first story is about the GSMA. According to the GSMA, the slow 5G rollout poses a threat to Europe's digital goals. The GSMA report predicts that by 2025, the average adoption of 5G across Europe will reach 44%, which is a slower rollout of 5G technology in Europe in comparison with its competitor markets. According to a new report by the GSMA, this is threatening the continent's goals in terms of digital implementation. In 2021, the European Commission, EC, set out its vision for Europe's digital transformation by 2030 in the Digital Decade Framework, a strategy aimed to deliver tangible benefits for EU economies through the development of digital skills, digital transformation of businesses, sustainable digital infrastructures, and digitalization of public services. And according to the GSMA, policymakers should create the right conditions for private infrastructure investment, network modernization, and digital innovation in order to meet the EC's 2030 goals. The 2022 Mobile Economy Report Europe shows that at the end of June 2022, 108 operators in 34 markets across Europe had launched commercial 5G services, yet the adoption of 5G is only reaching 6% of the mobile customer base. And it seems that while 5G is quite the buzzword, not only at MWC, but in general, the use of it seems maybe not quite ready yet. But where do you feel we are with 5G, Johannes?
Well, to be honest, the 5G rollout in the US is still a work in progress, and it's currently a frequency play. The FCC has been and is auctioning spectrum in the high band, millimeter wave band, mid band, or also called C band, and the low band at the same time. So frequency in each band has its own characteristics, and carriers have been acquiring spectrum based on their strategy. Some initially focus on the high band, others on the mid band. So to answer your question about where we are, the US leads the world in 5G availability. Speed is a different story, although in 2022, we've seen more and more carriers launch ultra-wideband services which utilize high-band spectrum. But full disclosure, we are talking about urban America. 5G in rural America will take a few more years.
Thanks, Johannes. And another trend that we heard a lot about during the show is OpenRAN. OpenRAN and network automation require a change in mindset, as stated by RCR Wireless. At MWC and other tech events, there has been a reoccurring theme around OpenRAN being part of a larger technological transformation, encompassing the move towards cloud, software, data, and more IT-centric operations. This trend reflects how operator buying patterns are changing to include open systems, integrated systems, reliance on external system integrators, and even serve as their own integrator. OpenRAN is about optionality, intended to provide choice in terms of different vendors, different solutions, adapted to different use cases, geographies, and verticals. And this mix and match approach has not been possible in the past due to what RCR Wireless refers to as vertically monolithic solutions. When it comes to adopting these much more IT-centric, software-centric approaches, Viavi Solutions Director of RF and Wireless Architecture, Office of the CTO, Ian Wong, said a change of mindset and a change in skill sets within the telecoms workforce is necessary. It seems like a major shift is taking place, wouldn't you say, Johannes?
Well, there is a major shift taking place. And so first of all, with the network, we separate the core from the RAN. And I'll come back to the core later. The RAN, also called the access network, is the final link between the phone and the cellular network. It includes the antenna and the base stations. The rest of the cellular network beyond the RAN is called the core or core network. Core network providers have been able to use multiple vendors and have well-specified standardized interfaces for decades already. So they've been using a multi-vendor system. For the RAN, until 5G, that was never a priority, and the RAN was pretty straightforward. Now, the ORAN Alliance, which was established in 2018, has been developing standards and testing equipment to accomplish exactly that for the RAN. So 5G, as you mentioned, is designed for a wide variety of use cases, and 5G's challenge is that it has to create connectivity products that are adapted to all these different use cases and different geographies.
Thanks, Johannes. And recently, Core announced that it has entered into an agreement with Ericsson to join the Ericsson IoT Accelerator ecosystem. Ericsson benefits from the ability to leverage Core's unparalleled coverage in the US in combination with Ericsson's IoT Accelerator's global deployment capabilities. The union will simplify global deployments for enterprises by offering control and visibility of devices, secure and dedicated IoT core network, and seamless technology experience. Enterprises will also benefit from the new revenue streams, reach new market segments, and create sustainable global businesses. At Mobile World Congress Las Vegas, Core's president and CEO Ramil Ball and Ericsson's general manager of IoT, Kaya Lakamoto, shared further details on the agreement with Enterprise IoT Insights, stating that Ericsson's global enterprise customers lost the ability to operate IoT applications in the US when Ericsson offboarded its Curiosity IoT platform, which was developed with Sprint, following the carrier's merger with T-Mobile. According to Okamoto, Core and Ericsson share a common vision built on no carrier lock-in, ubiquitous coverage, and most importantly, simplification. What are your thoughts on this, Johannes?
Well, partnerships are a sign of a mature or maturing industry, Tiffany. And these vertical partnerships make sense because it's all about time to market and scalability. Being able to rapidly deploy your IoT solution in other countries once you have a stable, proven solution and collected enough data in your launch market.
Thanks, Johannes. And T-Mobile US wants to get a jump on new 2.5 gigahertz use. T-Mobile US has asked the Federal Communications Commission to allow the carrier to immediately use hundreds of 2.5 gigahertz licenses across the US to add more 5G bandwidth to its existing 2.5 gigahertz deployments before officially granting the carrier those licenses. T-Mobile wants to jump on using that new spectrum as quickly as possible, given that it is already operating 5G nationwide in that band. The approximately 2,000 licenses across 45 states are part of more than 7,000 new licenses that T-Mo recently purchased at the 2.5 gigahertz auction. T-Mo made the unusual request for Special Temporary Authority, STA, to use the spectrum during the post-auction period when the FCC is reviewing long-form applications but has not formally granted the licenses to winning bidders. This period can last several months. T-Mo has asked for the use of the spectrum for up to 60 days. And based on our previous stories, I would have to say this may have something to do with Starlink, but what are your thoughts here, Johannes?
Well, not necessarily Starlink. I mean, diving into this story, this is about FCC Auction 108, and the press release about this auction is titled FCC concludes 2.5 gigahertz spectrum auction, a boost of mid-band spectrum for rural America. So we are adding 5G to pushing 5G into rural America. Now, T-Mobile, as you mentioned, won almost 97% of the licenses that were being auctioned. And by this time, because once you auction is done, you immediately need to pay. So they've already paid for the licenses and are now seeking special temporary authority of up to 60 days, which is not that much, because they immediately want to activate the licenses. This means that there is a very current and immediate need. And in the request, they specifically mentioned ever increasing consumer demand in many areas, including areas affected by extreme weather events, Hurricane Ian, where access to mobile broadband can aid recovery efforts. So that's the background of this story. But on a different note, looking at the various recent mid-band spectrum auctions, all the US carriers are currently buying mid-band spectrum, which has an ideal balance of speed and range. High-band spectrum is still selling, but at a much lower rate. So we'll see more C-band being rolled out across the country.
Interesting. Thanks, Johannes. And there's a lot of chatter around 5G, but Deutsche Telekom has its sight set on 6G. The 6G research project is part of a wider 6G program funded by the German government. German telco Deutsche Telekom announced that it is taking the lead for the 6G takeoff research project as part of a 6G program funded by the German government. And the 6G industrial projects for research into integrated systems and sub-technologies for sixth generation mobile communications program is funded by the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research. Together with a total of 22 partners, Deutsche Telekom is forming a consortium with the aim of developing a uniform 6G architecture for future communications networks comprising ground stations, flying infrastructure platforms, and satellites. The German carrier explained that base stations on board satellites and flying platforms can help close the remaining coverage gaps of ground-based base stations as they offer the possibility to provide additional network capacity temporarily or locally as needed. Deutsche Telekom also said that the 6G takeoff will develop a 3D architecture for mobile networks in which terrestrial and non-terrestrial base stations are considered and used in a uniform manner. 6G takeoff will cooperate with the European institutions and research projects to help shape future 6G standards. Well, considering how much adoption 5G has had, it almost makes me wonder if it was worth it if they're already pressing forward with 6G. But what's your take, Johannes?
Well, there is a reason behind this, and the reason is that the ITU, which is the International Telecommunication Union, is maintaining a 10-year upgrade cycle. So 4G was launched in 2010, 5G 2019, 6G is currently scheduled for 2028 or 29. But the question, do we need 6G, is fair, and even the ITU has discussed that internally. But 5G was such a breakthrough upgrade that we potentially could extend its lifetime beyond the 10-year mark with minor upgrades, and that's definitely possible because it's still being worked on. However, as we've seen with our webinars, innovation currently is moving very, very fast, and the 6G upgrade will support applications like 3D holographic video representations, which is where we are headed with AR and VR, real-time digital twins, with the digital and the physical twins experiencing real-time sensing and interactions. On top of that, the 6G communication networks will be the first generation of networks with a native AI. This means that the AI will not merely be an application, but an inherent part of the infrastructure, so it would manage the network, it would manage operations, it would basically be an intelligent network. 6G will also address the unification of terrestrial, aerial, and satellite networks. And let's not forget, 6G includes, or at least there are thoughts to include, quantum communications in 6G. So yes, based on the innovations that we are discussing month after month and what 6G is trying to accomplish, we will need 6G to be commercially available by the end of this decade. And coming back to the article you're referencing, the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research is launching not just the project that you mentioned, but several ones. The one that you're talking about is trying to develop a uniform 6G architecture for future communications comprising terrestrial, exactly that, terrestrial, aerial, and satellite infrastructure. There's a lot of research that needs to be done in the next 5 to 6 years to make all the promises of 6G happen, but the 6G network will be unlike anything you've seen before, and even the 6G RAN will be very different from what we are currently experiencing with the 5G RAN.
Well, you brought up some good points, Johannes. And now to our next story. Most people in the tech space have heard of Zigbee, but what about Matter? Matter is an interoperability standard with many connection options available to devices for creating mesh networks for smart homes. Under Matter, devices can talk to each other over standard Wi-Fi, Ethernet, Bluetooth, low energy, or Thread, which is another IEEE 802.15.4 standard. And after several delays, the specification for Matter 1.0 was released on Tuesday, October 4th, and is 899 pages long. And smart home manufacturers and software makers can now apply for this cross-compatibility standard, as well as have their products certified for it and release them. And we've talked a lot about smart homes in our webinar series, and I know that you've been researching quite a bit about mesh networks, Johannes, so I'm curious, what are your thoughts?
Well, I looked at the press release for Matter 1.0, and I would say it's about time. At the same time, it again shows that the IoT industry is getting more mature. Matter 1.0 will definitely help with smart home automation, because who doesn't want interoperability, simple connectivity, and more security for connected devices at home. But this is just the first milestone standard of the Connectivity Standards Alliance. They are now targeting, and they're also targeting other industry segments, so stay tuned. There are going to be more standards like this.
Thanks, Johannes. And from the smart home to the pumpkin patch, IoT is at work in ways you may not have ever even considered. Johannes, do you have any idea how many pumpkins are produced in the US for retail and commercial purposes?
I have not, Tiffany. I've looked up numbers, but no. How many are there?
Well, according to IoT for All, the annual demand for pumpkins is enormous. Every state in America produces pumpkins, with 9 states, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New York, Indiana, Michigan, California, North Carolina, Texas, and my home state of Ohio producing 75% of the market's total crop yield. And in 2020, greater than 66,000 acres of pumpkins were harvested, resulting in more than 2 billion pounds of pumpkins. And IoT enabled sensors help to monitor and track the growth and delivery of pumpkins during their entire life cycle, from the soil in which they're planted in, to the truck during transport, and also to the store shelves where they are sold each September and October. The article highlighted that there are a few technology solutions that help ensure regular connectivity for IoT sensors, and in some cases, higher bandwidth applications that require larger amounts of data may leverage cellular networks such as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth Low Energy, but are limited in the range and usage beyond near land-based deployments. And I bet this year when you purchase or go to carve your pumpkin, Johannes, you're going to think about how IoT helped get it in your hands. What do you say about that?
Well, I would say, behold the humble pumpkin, the belle of the harvest ball, the humble gourd that has launched 1,000 recipes. But of course, we need to grow them first. So, as you mentioned, billions of pounds of pumpkins are grown every year, as your research indicates. And that's indeed where IoT comes into play to monitor and track the pumpkins from seeding in the field to plating on the table or cutting on the table. And we use a wide variety of IoT devices and networks to do all that. So pumpkin pie with pumpkin spice latte, anybody?
I'll take one. And another acquisition in the news as Izuma Networks announced the acquisition of SoftBank's Pelion Edge software business, including the IoT device management products. Izuma announced an investment by SoftBank Group to hit the ground running with the Pelion acquisition of the extensive software and intellectual property portfolio that Arm's IoT Services Group, ISG, developed from 2013 to 2020. And the rich trove of intellectual property, software, and services was created by hundreds of talented ARM engineers during 7 years of intensive development. And with so much attention on the edge, this seems like ideal timing for revving up the device management and edge software aspects of Pelion, which were placed in maintenance mode as Pelion narrowed its focus on cellular device connectivity. But what do you make of this, Johannes?
Well, I agree with the story, Tiffany. So much is being pushed right now to the edge, and Pelion's device management and edge software portfolio, with a rich trove of intellectual property, was as a cherry on top, was a diamond waiting to be spun off or acquired. So we'll see more of these stories right now, and we were seeing them. There's a lot of M&A activity going on in the IoT industry. On the one hand, of course, it's a large industry. On the other hand, there are divisions being spun off and being bought and combined, and that's what we're seeing here. So stay tuned. There will be more M&A that we can report in future newscasts.
And here's another story about partnerships. Bix is partnering with French aerospace and security company Thales to simplify eSIM integration for the Internet of Things, in a partnership designed to unlock the potential of IoT for enterprises by removing the barriers to adoption of eSIMs, the integrated built-in version of SIM cards used in mobile devices. And we'll have Thales participating in our upcoming Summit of Things as well. And I'm sure that we'll hear more about this story then from Thales themselves. But Johannes, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, the eSIM market is literally exploding, Tiffany. So within 3 years, there will be 2.5 billion smartphone connections with eSIM, according to the GSMA. And this market is important enough for the GSMA to attach a eSIM summit to Mobile World Barcelona and also to Mobile World Las Vegas. The eSIM technology is also being deployed by early adopters in the IoT industry, in the connected cars, and in industrial IoT industries. And eSIM technology provides a lot of benefits for IoT devices. We should ask Rob Vandenberg from Thales to touch on e-technology in his keynote if he already has not included that.
Sounds like a good idea, Johannes. And to tell you more about our Summit of Things event coming up, we have some news to share. The event will be hybrid, not just virtual, but also hybrid, with a live stage in Las Vegas. While the event is still designed for a virtual audience, the live stage in Las Vegas will allow us to create a unique viewing experience for those who can attend the event in person at the City of Las Vegas International Innovation Center on Thursday, October 27th. And we have added many new speakers and sessions to the agenda. But Johannes, what are you most looking forward to about Summit of Things?
Well, I like that it's a summit, so we have a lot of keynotes, a lot of panel discussions, and fireside chats. Many are going on in parallel, so every attendee will have to build his own calendar, and the platform will help with building the calendar for the day. At the same time, all content is available up to 30 days after the summit, so you don't have to miss anything. You can always catch it later. Second, I like our expo hall, and I encourage our attendees to check out exhibitors in the expo hall. Third, I like our platform. It offers great virtual and metaverse-like experience, and it offers lots of networking opportunities, and one-on-one meetings are very easy to set up.
Thanks, Johannes. And there are plenty of networking opportunities within the summit. And we have several different lounges, if you will, that you can chat in. And it's also a great mix of content because it's not just another pitch fest. It has very valuable content to help people that are searching for the right solution to find the information they need, or when integrating that solution, or any step along their journey, whether they're securing their data or figuring out what to do with their data. There is definitely something in the summit for everyone, even if your interests are blockchain or extended reality, even drones. We've managed to cover it all, just as we do in our webinars. So be sure to attend, and you can get your ticket now at iotmktg.com. And to sweeten the deal on purchasing the ticket for the summit, we're also offering that if you purchase a 1-year membership to our Industry Insights webinars community, where you will get to access all of the content, all of the slide decks, all the broadcasts that we've done in our series, all within your membership, and get access to the summit complimentary as a bonus, all for only $72. And you can get your year-long membership now at iiwcommunity.com. Anything you want to mention about our community, Johannes?
No, I think we have a great community. We have great content that's available to our community. We have our webinars. They are attracting about 2,000 attendees month after month, and we'll have a great summit. And all that content will also go to the platform that supports our community. And what I would like to mention, all our content is developed and produced in-house. So what you see here and what you see on iiwcommunity.com, we've done it ourselves, and if you're in the market, we can do it for you. So make sure to join the summit, join our community, and enjoy the talks and the networking.
Thanks, Johannes. And we also have our upcoming 3rd annual Industry Insights IoT Awards coming up this December, and nominations are now open. So if you have not done so yet, please nominate your favorite business or person that you feel deserves recognition during our Industry Insights IoT Awards. And that's also available at iotmktg.com. And last but not least, I do want to emphasize we do offer end-to-end marketing, PR, production, content creation, graphic design services. Whatever you need, we can definitely assist. So be sure to reach out to us, schedule a meeting, or send us an inquiry, and we're happy to get back to you and help you along your way to meet your marketing and business goals for 2022, 2023, and beyond. Any final thoughts, Johannes?
No, it's going to be a great summit. We have great speakers at the summit. We have a great platform, and of course, we have a great host. So join the summit and enjoy the talks and the networking.
Thanks, Johannes. And we are also creating our schedule for 2023. So if you would like to be considered as a speaker or sponsor for any of our upcoming events, be sure to submit a speaking inquiry as well on our website at iotmktg.com. And that's all we have time for today. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next month. Thank you, Johannes.
Thank you, Tiffany.
The Internet of Things is reaching mass adoption as the industries using IoT rapidly expand. From smart buildings to smart cities, the Internet is connecting us in all new ways. Join Industry Insights webinars and IoT marketing on Thursday, October 27th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the Summit of Things. This all-day live event will feature a combination of panel discussions, keynotes, training sessions, and more. Discussion topics include IoT for smart manufacturing, IoT security and potential threats, applications for IoT such as digital twins, and advanced technologies that complement IoT. Contact us if you would like to participate in this live global event and attend the summit to learn more about the Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, and digital transformation. Register now at iotmktg.com, and we will see you at the summit.